importantly, welcome to Sinister Creature Con June. And it is my privilege to kick this weekend's festivities off with Mr. C. Thomas Howell. Welcome to the stage.
Hey guys. How's everybody doing? Good, man. It's good to be here.
So, welcome. You having a good time so far?
Yeah. It's a lot of the ghouls and creatures and stuff to look at.
Right on.
Yeah.
So this primarily being a horror sci-fi creature feature con, the main two that on the forefront of my mind, first and foremost, going chronologically, E.T. How was working on that project?
You know, it was probably the biggest spectacle that I've been a part of so far. I mean, it had a real circus environment, E.T., with a lot of, you know, little people and people with missing limbs and things. You know, the animatronics and the puppetry was pretty amazing because there was no CGI
Right.
in that picture. So it was all live action stuff and really kind of weird stuff for a 13-year-old kid to be looking at all day. But it was amazing to sort of see the film afterwards, and the humanity and the heart and soul that Spielberg put into that was just incredible.
What was he like? Is that...
Can you guys hear me? I'm not really speaking in the mic. You guys hear me okay? Do you need me to speak in this microphone? Is that better?
It is better.
Okay, sorry about that. There we go.
So that is a hell of a director to work under.
Spielberg?
Yeah.
He's no hack.
As such.
Yeah.
But to have that experience at such a younger age, 13 years old, how was he like as directing a set to direct?
Well, you know, I mean, I wouldn't be able to answer that really from an adult perspective like I could today. I mean, back then, you know, he treated us, he had a real knack for communicating with kids. I think the fact that he hauled around a trailer filled with video games and used that as motivation helped a lot.
It definitely has
It's
that.
like, listen, if we get this scene before lunch, you guys can play Missile Command for half an hour.
But even that
we always got that scene before lunch.
the feel of the film is like a retro 80s arcade game where, you know, E.T., he's not, you know, the typical gray alien that's most commonly used. He's like a little 8-bit.
And to be honest
alien.
with you, I'd like to know the process that they went through to come up with E.T., who, you know, I mean, that creature has a. It's interesting because it's a creepy little creature, but it has those amazing eyes that we fall in love with.
Right.
Like, I think they went along with sort of the Muppet formula.
Right. Yeah.
You know, but as long as the eyes are lovable, we'll
Humanity
be okay.
to
We'll
them.
be okay. Yeah.
The other film that jumped out, and I was talking to some of the guys behind the con about as the weeks leading up, revisiting The Hitcher. I mean, that film, for a horror film, in my opinion, is so totally underappreciated as far as the psychological value of you just being terrified of Ryder throughout that entire chase. That film, I mean, Rutger Hauer, like the scene at the diner and the scene at the 18-wheeler towards the end and all that, just the heaviness of that character that he brought. What was that like working with him?
I mean, Rutger's a weird dude, man. But in a great sense. I mean, there were a lot of firsts for me in that movie. That was the first time I had worked with, you know, award-winning actors like Jennifer Jason Leigh and Jeffrey DeMond, who played the sheriff, and you know, and Rutger, who was just at the peak of his Rutgerness at that time. You know, he taught me so many things. Number one, it was the first experience that I had where somebody didn't play with the rules that I was taught. And I didn't know you could, make shit up and do what you wanted.
Yeah.
When he started doing things like, there was no scene written where he licked pennies and stuck them to my eyes.
Yeah.
I just remember going, what the fuck are you doing, man? This is weird shit. All right, you're putting pennies in my eyes. This is weird shit.
Yeah.
But, there was something about the relationship that, he scared everybody on the set, and even the producers weren't really close with him.
Yeah.
And I remember one time I went into his bus he had to have lunch with him, and I don't think anything was said for 20 minutes. And he was eating potato salad and smoking filterless Camels at the same time, and I was just kind of not sure what I was doing in there. And finally, to make sort of small talk, I kind of looked up and said, Rutger, I was 17, knew nothing. Saying, everybody says you're like such a cool bad guy. What's your secret to playing these cool bad guys? And he was picking tobacco out of his teeth and hissed at me in that, Dutch accent. He was like, I don't play bad guys. I was like, fuck, I'm gonna leave now. And it took, that rattled around in my head for years and years and years and years. And then I got an opportunity to sort of reinvent myself with a role in Criminal Minds, and I played a role called the Reaper.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's when it all kicked in. That's when I understood what he meant. I realized that in that moment, this opportunity for me was so important because my age and I wanted to show that I was capable and I had the depth to play a role like that. And when I started to prep for it, I recalled that meeting with Rutger, and it all came sort of rushing back to me, and I realized the importance and the power behind playing a role that's called the bad guy without really putting any, when you play a bad character and you can maintain the humanity and you can maintain a connection to the audience. You see, the disconnect happens when you become bigger than life and you're sort of like, whoa, I'm the bad guy. And all of a sudden there's a disconnect because there's nothing scary about that shit. But when you got, somebody that believes he's doing something for the right reasons, and with the Reaper in Criminal Minds, he was a guy that was, willing and capable of stabbing himself 67 times without killing himself and blaming it on the Reaper. So the setup was awesome. I was playing a character that was a victim of the Reaper who was actually the Reaper. So the setup was amazing as in the writing. So I knew that if I just could not fuck it up by overplaying the bad guy stuff, which is what every actor does, and it makes it too much. Right. I wanted to underplay it, and I wanted to connect with the characters. I wanted to connect with Hodge. My favorite scene in the Criminal Minds apps is the scene where I'm on the phone with him when I'm about to go into his house and kill his wife. Mm-hmm. And it's intense because it's real and it's a connected conversation, and it's a guy that's talking about his child. I see he's wearing a Captain America shirt. Oh, your wife looks great. I like her as a brunette. In fact, I gotta go, bro. I'm gonna go and say hello.
Yeah.
And as opposed to playing it with anger or playing it with a threatening tone, because all that stuff takes away from all of a sudden now I got people coming up to me and go, dude, you're a fucking psychopath. You're crazy. And I said, well, go watch it again.
Yeah.
Because I don't play that. I don't put any of that stuff onto it. I let the audience do that, and it worked great. And that was from Rutger. Rutger taught me that, and I didn't know he was teaching me that 30 years ago.
It definitely is like an homage to that mindset of a character where you have, like you're saying, you're making the character more human, and you're also making the character a whole lot more believable, like
and relatable. The problem with a character like that is the people hated me so much and they loved me so much. They were like, oh my God, I wish you could stayed on the show. Mm-hmm. Why did you have to kill Haley? I hate you. So there was that dichotomy and that battle within the viewership of it. It's like, God, we love it, but we hate you. We love you, but we hate you. And that for me is the biggest gift.
No, yeah, that's a total. I mean, and that's just a bigger testament to your work, where you did such a good job playing that character. And
Well, I mean, I didn't, you know, I never know what I'm going to do. I always know what I'm not going to do. So I have a big advantage because I've done it wrong so many fucking times. It's like I've been bad in things so often that I've, you know, been fortunate enough to continue to work to get through that.
right.
But when you're thrown into it as a kid, you don't know what you're doing. You know, you just don't want to do the wrong thing. You don't want to upset anybody. You want to be liked. You want to be loved. You don't want to. You're not bringing stuff to the table. You know,
Yeah.
it wasn't until I was a little bit older I started to realize that, you know, I could do that.
Hitcher does though have pretty much everything: gunfights, car chases, cars flipping. What was your favorite scene to do?
The sex scene. There was no sex scene in the Hitcher. You know, hard to really pick. I mean, the Hitcher was not. There was no like favorite moment. The Hitcher was fucking hard, man. It was. You know, it was a road movie. So it was like Motel 6s in Death Valley.
Yeah.
And we were constantly traveling. And it was like a kid running for his life. You know, there was no like, you know, easy
Right.
moments. But it was also a real important time for my life because I look at that movie as a sort of a coming of age movie, and I was sort of coming of age as an actor in that movie.
Right.
And so I went through the same thing Jim Halsey went personally. And when I got to the end of it, I was like, I survived, and this is awesome, and I'm gonna do this again. And it was a really important time for me as a young man.
Right on.
Yeah.
And I'm going backwards in time. I mean,
More
yeah.
backwards?
like we jumped, and now we're back like in between.
Okay.
To,
Because I jumped to the Reaper.
No, yeah, that's true. We double
Right.
back, but we're all over the place. But The Outsiders, I mean, you talk about a film that, I mean, give it, yeah. I mean, why not?
I'm a fan too. I mean, S.E. Hinton, the book is great. You know, I just saw Rob Lowe. I live in Georgia now, so I just saw Rob in Atlanta at his one-man show. And, you know, I didn't know he was going to do this, but he called me up on stage, and we hugged it out, and we had a moment to talk about things. And, you know, just to be a part of that, The Outsiders, iconic literature. You know, it's required reading in about 70% of our schools across America. So each year I get a new batch of fans. You know, little girls crying over Ponyboy and then crying even harder when they realize he's 51. What's that fucking beard on your face? Thank you. It's a great fraternity to be a part of. You know, I'm very proud of that movie, and it's funny. You know, I look back at it, and there's some cheesy moments in that movie, but it's driven by great characters and heart and soul of, you know, these young people trying to survive. And it's interesting how effective that book is, and how everybody has a character that they love, whether you're a Dali fan or a, you know, Ralph Macchio fan, you know, Johnny Cake. It's there's somebody for everybody in that piece,
Right.
and everybody loves it. And you know, I'm so I can't even tell you how pleased I am when I see, you know, when I'm watching other movies and there's, you know, Stay Gold, Ponyboy references and shit in other movies, and it's just great. I mean, I've seen so many Stay Gold tattoos.
Yeah.
It's pretty. I didn't realize how significant that piece would become. I mean, we knew it was a great piece. Francis Ford Coppola. It was a great book. We loved it. But my God, I mean, we didn't realize it would end up becoming what it became, and it's as popular, if not more popular today than it was when it came out.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned required reading in
Yeah.
schools. I used to teach at one, and it's really interesting to see the students read that story, and they kind of progress maturity-wise along with the characters in that book. And then you like show them the movie after, you know, we're done teaching the unit on the book, and to kind of like see them. So I've seen the movie a bunch of times, but when you watch a kid who had no idea was a book or a movie, be exposed to it for the first time. It's really cool, man. And when they finally get to watch the movie, it's like seeing how kids react to the like in general like comic book movies, and for the characters to have that kind of emotional attachment when your value system is Captain America and Iron Man,
Yeah.
and they're coming out of watching The Outsiders, and
Well, I mean, I think that makes it easier because what's happening today is there is no humanity in these
no right
pictures.
right
I mean, I tease that one day we're just going to walk into a theater and the credits will roll and an explosion will begin and will last for 2 hours, and then we'll walk out and go, "That was awesome!" But what's happening is there's just no more story. There's no more humanity. There's no more characters that we really love. I haven't seen the new Deadpool. I was a big fan of the first Deadpool. But that was a little bit different because the comedic relief really is what we all appreciated in that.
right
It's tough, I think studios now are forced into these $300 million blockbusters, and I was in The Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield.
right
And a lot of people used to ask me questions about, what was that like? And I said, well, a couple of things. Even I was curious why they were rebooting it so quickly. I mean, it was only 2 years that they got rid of Tobey Maguire and they opened up with Andrew Garfield. And I learned something very strange because, of course, I like the rest of you, I'm like, do you have no brains? Can you not develop something new? Can we not, But it's all legal stuff.
yeah
For example, if Sony doesn't put out a Spider-Man movie every 2 years, they lose the rights to it.
huh
So there's things like that we have no idea as fans.
right
Well, this is why they constantly do the reboot. Well, it makes them a bazillion dollars, but there's legal issues.
yeah
So, it's that's a whole different world. When you're making comic book films for $300 million, that's a business. When you're doing episodic TV, like I've been blessed and did a year on Rae Dawn last year, and I've got a character that I just opened up on Blacklist now that'll be coming back, and I'm working with people like Liev and James Spader and learning a lot from those experiences and watching these guys that are committed to their show, that are on hit shows. But what makes it a hit show is their drive, their passion, their commitment. Spader and Liev are the first ones there, the last ones to leave, and they turn over every single stone as you do the work. I've worked with a lot of guys who show up late, they're not really prepared, they're looking forward to leaving, they want to know what's for lunch, they're not there to do the work.
yeah
And I'm there to do the work, so I'm really disappointed when that happens. Whenever I meet an actor or there's a moment where, for example, I won't get into the name, but it was a project that we've already talked about, and I had to do a fight with an actor, and we're in the actor's home, or the character's home, and we're fighting, and he had been having some other issues with production for a while, and he got up and he said, there's not enough padding underneath the carpet, you knew we were going to be doing this fight on the floor, I can't believe you don't think about me, and he walked away. And I was looking around, and the AD said, let's take a half-hour break. And I was like, a half-hour break? What the fuck is wrong with you, man? So I go out to the trailer. I wish I could, get into details for you, but it's better if I don't.
yeah
And I knocked on the actor's door, and I didn't know what the actor would do. He kind of opened the door, and he looked at me. He said, can I ask you a question? And I knew this actor had been on, this was his third hit series, and, he's a superstar. And he goes, yeah. And I said, when's the last time you went on an audition knowing, it was probably 25 years ago, and he was like, it's been a while. I said, I went on 3 last week. I'm here to kick this thing's ass. Let's go to work, man. He waited, and he hugged me for what felt like 5 minutes. Separated, he said, thank you, I'll be right there. So it was just the adjustment
yeah
to what's really happening You know, I'm a guy that's there to do the work for the sake of the work. I'm not there for accolades.
Yeah.
You know, I used to be when I was a kid because I didn't know what I was doing. I used to want to be there to please people. I wanted to walk away, and before I left as a kid, I'd go up to the director. Was it okay? Are we doing okay?
Yeah.
You know, I don't do that. I tell them now, no, fuck that. We're going again. We're gonna do this again. We're gonna make it right because I care.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not there. When I drive home now, I tell myself if it was a kick-ass day. And the only way to get there anymore is to be brave enough to allow a scene to fail versus trying to force something to happen. So if you're a really good actor, you'll let it come to you, even to the point of, I'm willing to walk away from this without finding that moment that was a great moment, versus trying to force it, and nothing works when it's forced.
Yeah.
But if you're courageous enough to be able to walk away from a moment and go, nothing really happened there, but hey, that's all right. That's better than, God damn it, that sucked, and I tried to make it happen, and I sucked, and it was bad. So I learned that lesson, and it was a big lesson for me.
Yeah.
To be able to be courageous enough to walk away from nothing happening. And that's when I knew I was a good actor. Took a long time.
No, but it's been an extremely fun ride to watch you progress.
I'm just trying to share some details with you guys about my process. So I'm sorry if that's kind of boring, but you know, having been a child actor and now I'm an adult actor and I've never done anything but acting. Well, I had to do some really bad movies to maintain, you know, feeding my kids. But that's part of it. You know, that's as if you're a lifer, you're going to be in blockbusters and you're going to be in really bad movies. I'm trying to. There was a time, I'd say about 10 years ago, when I kind of said enough's enough. And you know, you'll do a movie now that you think is good that might not be good.
Yeah.
That's why I sort of prefer doing television, because the writing in television, the acting in television is great. It's fantastic. So there's a huge sort of a resurgence with all these different, you know, now we have Netflix, Amazon, all these different venues that provide, you know, great stuff for us to do that wasn't there for a minute. When reality TV hit and we didn't have Netflix and Amazon and all these other venues, all we knew was that reality TV was taking away time slots for actors doing dramatic stuff, and we weren't working that much.
Yeah.
And those are the times we were kind of forced to go, well, I guess I'm gonna run from Aliens on the Sci-Fi Channel for a minute.
Yeah.
And you look at that stuff and you go, fuck, what was I thinking? But you know, it's all part of it. That I tell people all the time, it's those projects that made me better. You know, of course, hanging out with guys on whatever, Spider-Man, or you know, hanging out with Steven Spielberg, you're like, this is awesome. But when you're in the trenches and there is no money and the sun's going down and you gotta get it right anyway, those are the moments that I remember and that I cherish.
Yeah.
So, you know, the Asylum days, the sci-fi days, you know, people come up and ask me all the time, you know, you did a couple of Asylum movies. You know, they're the ones that did Sharknado, right? They're the ones that did like those crazy movies. I never did anything like Sharknado. God bless the people that did Sharknado. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying, I'm happy I'm not in Sharknado. That's all I'm saying. But I understand being in that space where you haven't worked. You might be thinking, I'm kind of out of this right now, and you're circling the drain trying to figure out your own life, and someone comes up and says, hey, you want to do a movie called Sharknado? And you're like, yes, thank God. The problem is, it never goes away. It will haunt you forever. You can do 15 ETs, but all they want to know about is Sharknado.
Yeah.
So, you know, managing your career is all like managing your life, and you got to have good people around you, and you have to have people that help you. You have to have a life partner that can help you. You have to have a life partner that can say, you know, maybe we don't need a new car. Maybe we don't need to do Sharknado. Maybe we're gonna be okay. Don't do that, right?
Yeah.
And if you got a life partner that's like, I don't give a shit, go do all the Sharknados. You know, it's hard, and you have agents and managers. If you have good people around you, you can do this. But
Right on.
it's tough. It's a tough business, and you know, they don't teach you how to manage your life, how to manage your money, how to manage, you know, the important things in acting school. You know,
Right.
it's which they should, mind you. Acting school should start with like a business class first.
Yeah.
But they don't. So always kind of, you know, you look at everybody's careers, and we think, and you know, yeah, I'd like to have Johnny Depp's career. But even Johnny Depp is, you know, look at him. He's in the middle of a nightmare right now. So it's about managing. It's a lot like golf, man. I'm a golfer, so sorry if you're not a golfer, but all golf is managing your bad shots. It's kind of like that with your career. If you can, you know, you don't punch people on the set. If you show up on time and you're a good person and you know, you're prepared, it's kind of like anything else, folks. You're probably going to get rehired. You know? But when you show up and you're demanding, you know, all the M&Ms but the green ones be removed, it's just stupid. And,
Right.
and a lot of people get hung up on that stuff, I think because they're afraid of the work, or maybe they're not feeling prepared, or whatever it is that they're dealing with that keeps them from finding their own authenticity, which, you know, is another reason why I have a beard now and gray hair, and people say, why don't you dye your hair, or why don't you? I said, because I'm not a fucking asshole. You know, I'm a human, and I'm here to portray humans, and I want to portray humans that don't dye their fucking hair. I want to portray humans that are authentic and that are real, and I want to look in the mirror and go, God, you're old, but you don't need fucking hair dye. You're awesome. Thank you. Thank you. It's important to me to be that way, because, you know, I'm standing on panels next to people I've worked with before, and they're like, wow, you look so young. And I'm like, it's dyed, facelift. But it really doesn't matter, as long as, you know, as long as they're happy. You know, I personally have a hard time looking at actors that I used to really admire and now are seeing this. It's tough, because I was like, dude, I used to love you, and now I hate you so much. Because there's nothing authentic there. It's not real, you know. And for me, acting is about authenticity. And I'm into, you know, Star Wars and, you know, whatever, wearing whatever and being as out there as you can be. But even within that, there's got to be something authentic that you're bringing to it. Otherwise, what's the point, you know?
No, yeah, absolutely.
What's the point? So it took me a long time to realize that, because I spent many years in LA with the coiffed hair and the shaved look, and like, oh my God, okay, trying to be something that I wasn't, which was just so stupid, and a lot of work for nothing. And when you walk into a room that way, they instantly go next, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But when you walk into a room kind of like this, and you kind of go, I gotta get the fuck out of here, because I'm gonna go, like, check some eggs at the chicken coop. They're like, we want you. It's so weird. It's so weird. And I wish I could bottle that. I wish I could have bottled that as a kid. You know, I've never gotten a gig ever in my life when I've walked in the room and I've said, oh my God, this is a great script. Would love to be a part of this. This is awesome. They're already checking you up. Next. Get out of here. There's like a desperate vibe that comes with that people just don't want to be a part of.
Yeah.
Right? But when you go in and you're, it's not that you don't give a shit. It's just that you're not attached to it. So you have to commit to it 100%, but you can't be attached to it. Do you know how hard that is?
Yeah.
So listen to that again. Commit to something 100%, but not be attached to it.
Yeah.
It's very difficult, but it's the key to everything. It's the key to everything. And I work because of that.
Wow. Right on. Before we get to Q&A, I just wanted to say, like, when you did The Outsiders, you have all those iconic names. all around the same age. Did you guys get into anything crazy together?
Hell yeah!
What's
Hell
like your
yeah.
favorite story?
I can't tell you. I can tell you like my 6th or 7th favorite
All
story.
right. Your top ranked story.
Now, you know, listen, that was, I've never been the thing that was so strange about The Outsiders during the time was there was a Beatlesque, a Beatlemania vibe.
Yeah.
But we were all nobodies except for Matt, who had really only done a couple of things. I mean, literally, girls sleeping in hotel lobbies and hallways and chasing us out the door and screaming. And the movie hadn't come out. So I don't really know what created that vibe. I mean, we were in Tulsa. It was a huge thing there. But I'd never really been a part of that type of thing before or since. Now, all of the pranks and all of the things that were involved in that movie were incredible. I mean, you know, I was 14, so I think somebody taught me how to play caps with beer, and I thought the world had just, you know, ended. It was like, oh my God. So that's really the most trouble I got into, apart from, you know, wanting to marry Diane Lane when I was 14. But there were an awful lot of pranks that went on with a lot of the guys that weren't working, and I was one of the guys that worked a lot, so I was, you know, on the end of the pranks that you don't want to be in. Like, for example, you know, silly stuff. Like, I'd go into my hotel room and somebody had got a key to my room and they turned everything in my room upside down. Everything. From the toothbrush to the bed, man. Everything. The dressers. Everything. So I'm working all night. I come in 6 in the morning and this is in my room, right? So I got to call up. We got a problem. Can somebody come and put my bed upside down again, please? You know, or stupid things like one time I came home from work and Rob he was sleeping, and you could, for whatever reason, unscrew the eye peeper from the outside of the hotel.
Oh, okay.
So you could unscrew it, and I mashed a fire extinguisher kind of up through the hole and emptied it in his room, and I called him. I said, Rob, there's a fire. Get your shit. Get out of there right now. He woke up, turned on the light. We heard him screaming, ah! He comes running downstairs with his like Nikon camera in his underwear, and we're dying. We're laughing. So things like that were you know, so great and fun to be a part of.
Yeah, sounds like it, man.
Yeah.
So
Let's turn it over to the people.
Yeah, no. Does anyone have a question that they would like to ask?
Let's get it started.
Okay. I think one of the things that's distinguished your career is the wide range of roles you played, from young, heroic Ponyboy all the way to one of the most iconic episodic villains in The Reaper and Criminal Minds. And I was wondering, is there any particular kind of role that you find the most challenging or that you enjoy playing the most?
Well, I like playing. I enjoy playing villains a lot, and it's funny because I couldn't get a job as a heavy until I did The Reaper, and now it's like that's all I get offered. So I shy away from a lot of them, but I do a lot of voiceover work for Warner Brothers Animation, and I play all the heavies in their stuff, which is weird. It's all because of The Reaper, you know. I don't really see myself as that. My father's kind of a heavy, so I guess I have that. I can have that vibe, but I like to find flawed characters and inject humanity into them, and that's what I search for when I can, because that's what people can relate to. And what I don't like doing is playing roles that have a disconnect where people can't connect with you. You know, they can't relate. So there's a real challenge there, I think. You know, and that's why The Reaper worked. It first of all, the writing is great and the performers are all great, and my hat off to that company. But what I was able to bring to it was just that. It was really, and I don't want to get it, we already spoke about it, but really, it was a flawed character who was a broken man that we discovered was living under an alias and living in dual reality. And I liked the humanity within the character, even though he was just such a broken being. And when you can find those, they usually work well.
So that was a great story about Rutger improvising the pennies on the eyes.
Yeah.
Do you have any other stories like that where you or your colleagues improvised or came up with something wonderful?
Well, like, it's not easy to do. A lot of times, you know, improvisations will be like, sorry, don't know what I was thinking there. Can we go again? Back to the script, boys. You know, so when you work with somebody like Rutger, who his instincts are so incredible, but he also brings such a, he has such a powerful energy that nobody was like, excuse me, Rutger, the penny thing? What's that? Everybody was like, that was awesome. Okay, let's go again. What the fuck's he doing with the penny thing? What's going on? I don't know. It's so weird. Awesome stuff with the penny thing, Rutger. Okay. So fucking crazy, man. What's he doing? So that's what it's like working with Rutger. But that's what you want in a movie like that. You know, if you have somebody playing that character that brings nothing except what's in the script, then it wouldn't have been great. And the reason why it was great is because this guy was really fucking with this young kid for real, in real life. And you had this interaction, and there was no, listen, this next take, I'm gonna put some pennies on your eyes, so don't freak out, just kind of go with it, okay? Because if you'd have done that, I would have been like, dude, what are you doing? You spit on this penny and put it on my eye? That's a little weird. And I remember it was written that I spit on him in the scene, but it wasn't written that he like takes it and licks my spit.
Yeah.
You know, and I was just like, dude, did you just lick my fucking spit? This is crazy, man. But all of that stuff was what made it great.
Yeah.
And so he took my little small mind. I grew up, you know, in Castaic, California, at the Grapevine, and you know, on a ranch with horses and stuff. So I wasn't a trained actor. I didn't, you know, my father was a stuntman. My father was like, look, man, go get it now, because it's gonna go away. I didn't have any like artistry at home. You know, we were blue collar. My dad rode bulls for 12 years for a living and then became a stuntman. You know, my dad was the type of guy when he said, did you clean your room? I was like, I cleaned the whole house, Dad. My dad was like Rutger Hauer in real life to me, just scared the hell out of me. But I think it took me a long time to find my own authenticity, to find my own, to find myself. You know, because when you start out as a child, there's a lot of kid actors, as we know, man. You know, been through Betty Ford clinics and that are effed up people and have a real hard time. It's tough to go from being a child and being told how awesome you are and how awesome your life is going to be, and then you go through some of those struggles. How do you get onto the other side of it? And how do you mature? And how do you become an adult actor? And how do you do it? I mean, it's a very, very difficult thing, you know, to do. And I feel blessed. I'm grateful. I'm thankful for what I do. I take time out. And when I meet people at my table, I really try to look at you. I really try to connect with you. I really try to say, hello, how are you? Versus, let me sign this, give me your money, get the fuck out of here. That's to me is not what I'm wanting.
Right.
For me.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the people coming to see me and trying to get something from me. I'm talking about what I want.
Yeah.
What I want is to know, how are you doing, bro?
Yeah.
Are we connecting or not?
Right.
If we connect, you're gonna walk away and go, I feel better. That was cool.
Yeah.
As do I.
Yeah.
So when I come to these places and I come to meet people, I'm really here to meet you. I'm really here to ask you, how are you? What's your experience with me? You have a daughter that read the book, that saw the movie? It changed her life how? She reads all the time now, and she didn't read before she read that movie. That means a lot to me, because I've affected that person in a way through my performance as Ponyboy. S.E. Hinton changed this person's life through the literature that she wrote. So I'm here to do that.
Yeah.
I'm not here, you know, to make a few bucks and leave, man, because that's stupid. And that's how I approach my work as an actor. I want to connect with people. I don't want to be the guy that passes out notes saying, don't look me in the eye when I'm on the set, because that's bullshit.
Yeah.
That's total bullshit. I've worked with actors that are just that are like that. And that's the dude that you go up and you knock on their door and you say, the fuck is wrong with you, man? Let's go kick this thing's ass. I went on 3 auditions last week. What are you doing? And they go, oh. So it's about that. It's just about, also I'm a father of 4, so, you know, I gotta run shit, you know what I mean? and it's that way in our lives, and it's that way on the set, and it's that way in events like this, and it just should, don't come if you're gonna be an idiot, is the way I look at it. Don't take a job that you feel that you're bigger than, and that you feel that you shouldn't be there. Like if I do Sharknado 6, I'm gonna kick Sharknado 6's ass. But I ain't gonna do Sharknado 6, let's hope. I might do 7. I'm just saying, I don't take a gig that I don't commit to 100%. And I try to be that way in everything in my life.
Right on. We have time for one more. Let's go to
San Francisco.
Oh,
Come on, man.
All right, I was just wanting to know what your feelings or opinion about remakes.
Jimmy Garoppolo?
Yeah.
I think he's gonna be all right, man. I think he's gonna be all right. No, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, what your thoughts or opinions were about remakes of movies like Hitcher. I get kind of annoyed just because.
Well, I think, I'm glad you brought this up, because when they start, 2 things. When they start remaking your films, 2 things happen. 1, you go, fuck, I'm old. 2, you go, oh, I was in a couple of pretty awesome films because they don't remake shitty films. 3, I never watched any of the remakes, The Hitcher or Rae Dawn. Possibly because this is a hard one to explain, but you become, protective in a way, and they're your babies, they're your experiences, and I guess one day I'll be at a place where I'll be able to appreciate what they did, but I haven't done that yet. Like I haven't had the desire. Let me sit down and see what they did with The Hitcher or what they did with Rae Dawn. I haven't had that desire yet. I've been more like, why y'all want to fuck with my thing, man? You know. But it's not my thing. It's bullshit in my head. It's not real, and I know that. It's their thing and their story, and I should watch it and enjoy it and be like, oh, that's how they did it. But I don't feel that way. I'm still like, you're fucking with my thing. So I'm battling with that. It's a mixture. It's a compliment, and yet it sucks too.
Yeah.
Like people ask me, like, will they remake The Outsiders? I know they will not. They might toy with some television stuff. But could you imagine remaking The Outsiders? It's kind of a joke. But I thought that way about Rae Dawn. I mean, how would that go past the first meeting? Who thinks, I got a great idea, let's remake Rae Dawn? I would be like, Joe, you're fired. Okay, next. I mean, that's the dumbest idea in the world. How that even gets, like, through the 3rd meeting is ridiculous, But it's a thing called branding, and that's all they really care about. Let's just get one more question before we go. Come on.
Can I get one?
Okay, man.
Can you explain and describe how you pitched Soul Man?
How I was pitched Soul Man? Soul Man, by the way, I like to talk about Soul Man because a lot of people come to the table and go, where's the Soul Man pictures? Where's the Soul Man pictures? Here's the thing about Soul Man. When we made Soul Man, it was like 1985. And everybody had pure intentions. And when you watch that movie, there's heart and gold in that movie. And it's funny. And people say to me, I can't find Soul Man. It's hard to find. I'm like, well, you won't find it. And if you find a copy, send it to me because I'd like one as well. But whenever you take a white teenage kid and you put him in blackface, it's racist. End of discussion. You can't go beyond it. So that's where we are today. People ask me today, could you do Soul Man today? And my response is, well, you know the answer to that. Which is probably why we should, with another actor, of course, not me. But social media, I've taken a beating for Soul Man, and a lot of people. First of all, it's an easy whip. It's an easy, see Thomas Howell in blackface and Soul Man, blah blah blah. I mean, if that was all I'd ever done, I guess it might affect me more. But we really cared. We really tried to make an anti-racial movie. But you just can't get past the white kid in blackface, which is unfortunate, you know, and it happens to be my 17-year-old son over there, Liam's favorite movie that I've ever done. And like occasionally I'll get a call, Dad, I'm with my friends, we're watching Soul Man, it's awesome! Yeah, okay, but did you ever see The Reaper? No? Yeah, okay. Well, good, because you'd probably clean your room if you did. I'm a fan of Soul Man, but it's potentially uncomfortable for people. So it's like just one of the things that I have to secretly be proud of. You know, it's funny. It's like we had really good intentions when we did that movie, and if you look back at it ever, there really are some funny moments in that piece.
You gotta take it in context.
Yeah, you gotta take it into context. Exactly right. I guess we're done, bro.
Yeah, folks, we are out of time, but you can see.
Thank you for sitting here with me, everybody, and letting me talk. I appreciate it, and you know, if you haven't yet, come over to the table and at least just say hello. You know, you don't have to get a picture or anything, but
Yeah.
say hi, okay?
Just stop by his table, say hi to him again. One
And
more
have a great
time,
day,
Thomas
guys.
Howell.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, man.
My pleasure.